This meeting is being recorded.
All right. So in this 4-week series on Wednesday nights, we're exploring what it means to love God with all of our strength. And last week we talked about sort of just the general idea that that phrase includes the body and that bodies matter to God. Tonight we're talking about the care of the body, the care of our physical bodies as part of loving God with all of our strength. There we go. We'll also talk next week about using our bodies and their strength and their skills and their abilities to love others and God. And then we'll finish up by talking about what it means to be the bodies of Christ, the hands, the feet in the world around us. So this is part of a larger effort this year to spend several sessions on Wednesday nights throughout the year, talking about loving God with heart, soul, mind, and strength, and loving our neighbor as ourselves, all designed to help us to learn to live lives of love. Okay, so just to kind of get us going tonight, let me read some of these untruths about the body from Hillary McBride's book, The Wisdom of Your Body. She lists, 12 or 13 of them. These are just 6 of them. Untruths about the body. You are not your body, and thus you can work longer hours, dismiss your hunger, overlook pain, etc. You need to subdue your body because it is dangerous. Appearance is all that matters about your body. If our bodies are a gift, we've learned to focus on the wrapping and have forgotten how to enjoy the gift itself. Number 4, you should change your body. You'll be happier and more desirable if you change your body in some way. Number 5, others get to decide what is best for your body. And number 6, bodies get in the way of what really matters, theology and intellect. So let me just throw it open there. Which of those untruths feel particularly meaningful to you in your own experience? Art?
I'm trying to look over the 6 items. Nothing came to me, but and again, you realize, like salmon, I'll swim upstream, but to my demise. The only thing I think about is mind over body. So I don't know where that fits in all of this, but we our mind is over our body. So I don't know if that fits into any of this. But
so would you call that an untruth? Is that an untruth, or are you saying that that's
no?
true?
I think it is a truth, and so the wisdom of your body is top with the mind over your body, because I do believe mind over body.
Okay.
But that in itself says that the mind is not part of the body, and I would question that. Isn't the mind a part of the body?
Well, fair enough. Maybe the thought that comes from the mind. Thoughts from the mind, I think, surpass the body. But I didn't raise my hand.
Others, which of those untruths feel important, impactful?
I'd have to say the strongest one for me is the number 1, you are not your body. If your body isn't as good as other people's body, or it should, or it doesn't hold up well to, you know, it's in some ways deficient or in chronic pain, things like that. You have to do something with that. But it's a tricky thing, you know. You can't really divorce yourself from your body, but you have to just divorce your worth from your body.
Okay, good, thanks. How about at the table? Anybody?
Well, I think number 5 is ripe for discussion. We probably don't want to go down that path. It's very political.
Yeah.
Like, who gets to make a decision about your body, and
Yeah.
whether we're talking about COVID and masking and you know, or we're talking about things like women's health and control of one's body around birth issues.
Mhm. Yeah, it's interesting how conversations about the body are really prominent right now in the media, the news cycle. Yeah.
Chris, I'm gonna attack number 3. Appearance is all that matters about your body. It's what I do every day with folks.
Yeah.
And I think the most telling piece is really that very, very last part where it says we have forgotten how to enjoy the gift itself. And I think, unfortunately, it doesn't start with that. That's where it should start, enjoying the gift. And then working on the appearance stems from that. But unfortunately, it goes the other way around with folks often. And there's such a focus on a certain, you know, nonsensical, honestly, airbrushed appearance that there's not very often not a lot of enjoyment or a lot of self-criticism along the way, which is, you know, very, very much of a disjointed disconnect that shouldn't be, but unfortunately is.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
fight that with clients all the time.
I bet. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well,
I'm going to mention.
go ahead.
I mean, I think a lot of these are good, but in most cases, there's an exception to them. Number 5, others get to this. Where's 4? You should change. It's a myth that you should change your body. You know, that's largely true, but then you get into the issue of trans people, and that's sometimes where the resistance builds up to them is, well, you shouldn't change your God-given body.
Right.
Well, if your God-given body don't align, you don't get to do something that aligns them. You know, you know, it's complicated, but you know, I look at that and say, okay, I believe number 4 generally, but there are cases where there might be an exception to that.
Yeah. Which feels like the myth piece of that is driven maybe more by the broader culture around us, saying here's what a body should look like, and therefore you should change your body to look like it so that you can be happy. Whereas what you're talking about is more of that internal misalignment between mind and body. Yeah, important though. And
I think when I've heard good people resist this idea, I think the truth that they're pointing to is it shouldn't be done flippantly. You know, that if you're going to make changes of various kinds, you shouldn't be real young, you know, because you may change your mind later, and this is big stuff. And you shouldn't consider that in the end, it really does come down to your body. But yeah, there needs to be some understanding there and some empathy with the person who has to make tough decisions.
Let's jump into some texts here from the Gospels that lean in the direction of informing the care of the body, and I apologize, I can't quite get this TV to do what I want it to do, so we can see our online folks and the whole slide there.
Eddie and I'll go and bring the other TV.
Okay. So this is Matthew 12, 2-8. At that time, Jesus went through the grain fields on the Sabbath. His disciples were hungry, and they began to pluck heads of grain and to eat. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said to him, "Look, your disciples are doing what is not lawful to do on the Sabbath." And he said to them, "Have you not read what David did when he was hungry, and those who were with him, how he entered the house of God and ate the bread of the presence, which it is not lawful for him to eat, nor for those who are with him, but only for the priests? Or have you not read in the law how on the Sabbath the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are guiltless? I tell you, something greater than the temple is here. And if you had known what this means, I desire mercy and not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the guiltless, for the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath." Okay, so the problem here is the Pharisees are finding an act being done by the disciples to be unlawful. So they believe that the lawful act of caring for the body, the Old Testament did make concessions for plucking grain at the edges of the field, because the edges of the field were to be left alone, so that the poor, the hungry, foreigners, orphans, widows could reap that grain and feed themselves. So that was lawful to do that. But since it's being done on the Sabbath, the Pharisees see this act, which is an act of caring for the body, they see it as unlawful. Reaping grain was one of the 39 areas of work they believe to be explicitly forbidden on the Sabbath. So we have a group of people whose bodies are hungry. They are caring for the needs of their bodies, and the Pharisees are saying that what they are doing is unlawful. They're breaking the law. So then Jesus engages in battle against the Pharisees over this and affirms it in three ways. First, he affirms that what they're doing in caring for their bodies is appropriate and lawful, and that they're guiltless because, in essence, Jesus, is greater than David, and David consumed the bread of the presence, these 12 loaves of bread representing God's covenant that were baked and placed on tabernacle each Sabbath as an offering. And it was only to be eaten by the priests, but David and those with him did it, and Jesus is greater than David, and therefore it's okay for the disciples to care for their bodies in this way. Jesus also affirms it because he explicitly says he is greater than the temple. And in the temple, the priests offer sacrifices on the Sabbath. They work on the Sabbath. They profane the Sabbath, in Jesus' words. It's changed to showbread on the Sabbath. They attend to other temple duties on the Sabbath, and yet they're guiltless. And Jesus is greater than the temple, and therefore his followers are guiltless in doing what they're doing on the Sabbath. And then at the end, he affirms it with this line from Hosea that God desires mercy, not sacrifice, and that's what the disciples were doing. The disciples were being obedient to the law of mercy, which allowed them to care for their bodies on the Sabbath, even if the Pharisees believed they were disobedient to the law of sacrifice, these laws regarding the Sabbath. So there's a lot going on in that text, and a lot of different streams of application. But I think one little thread that we might pull from it here is that caring for the physical needs of the body ranks as high, if not higher, than caring for the needs of the soul. The Pharisees would have viewed what's happening here, I think, as a matter of the soul. They're breaking the law, and that's what is paramount. And Jesus is saying, but the law of mercy permits the caring of the body, even if it seems to violate, the other law. I think a helpful word, and this comes from Christine Caldwell in a book called Body Fullness. And so Caldwell writes about how the life and vision and check by Jesus involves mindfulness, and there's a lot of talk these days about being mindful, very present to the moment, or soulfulness. But it's also a faith that involves bodyfulness, the importance of the body, being present to and attending to the body. And so here we have one of these Sabbath controversies taking place over the care of the body. Let me just stop right there and see if anybody has questions or comments on that text. We'll look at 2 or 3 others here. Okay. Matthew 25, 34 through 40. Then the king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me. Then the righteous will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? When did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison and visit you? And the king will answer them, truly I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these, my brothers, you did it to me. So here we have the care of the body, in this case, the care for the body of other people, linked to the care for Christ. So feeding a hungry body, quenching a thirsty body, clothing a naked body, tending to a sick body. I think that's probably assumed in the image here of someone who is sick and they receive a visit. There's some tending to the sick body here. So all of those acts of care for the body are now equated with caring for Christ himself, which seems to suggest that there's something inherently spiritual about the caring for the body. That the care of the body has a significance even beyond itself. There's something eternal, there's something spiritual about it. Let me stop there and just ask for questions or comments on that text. Okay, Mark 6. And he called the 12 and began to send them out 2 by 2 and gave them authority over the unclean spirits. So they went out and proclaimed that people should repent, and they cast out many demons and anointed with oil many who were sick and healed them. The apostles returned to Jesus and told him all that they had done and taught. And he said to them, come away by yourselves to a desolate place and rest a while. For many were coming and going, and they had no leisure to even eat. So here we have Jesus recognizing that engaging in this spiritual activity, preaching, casting out demons, caring for the sick, that all of that activity has an impact on the physical the disciples' physical body. And so when they come back and they've completed this spiritual activity, Jesus says, come away by yourselves to a desolate place and rest for a while. That is that because of the impact of this spiritual activity on the body, they need to get away. They need to rest. They need sustenance, because there's that line there about having no leisure even to eat. And they need to be in a place where those things can be done appropriately and without interruption, a desolate place. And so here, care for the body is required in order to engage in spiritual work. Jesus recognizes the critical nature of the care of the body in order to do the work of the kingdom. Questions or comments on that text?
I actually have a comment because you know me. I was just talking to a client today about the importance of rest and sleep. And, I think we all know that we need to get more sleep, or we need to get, 7 to 9 hours of sleep. But I don't think we hold in as high regard as we do say we know we need to exercise. We know we need to eat nutritiously. I think sleep is sort of this thing that we know, but we poo-poo it much more. And I think part of it is because of the importance that we place on work and busyness and attainment and so on and so forth. But interestingly, sleep is good for not just the body, but the mind and soul as well. And my sense is that as we continue on in the world, there will be, we have fitness instructors, we have nutritional instructors, and therapists, and professionals. I think hopefully we will get sleep instructors, and I think it's that important. It's important because you, as Debbie said, you can't really separate the mind, body, and soul. And to attend to that bodily function that is incredibly basic, but people do not tend to it as well, just enriches the whole system. So folks, if I could say, I'm going to say just one thing, mind your sleep. And if you're not sure how to do that, find someone who can help you, because it is absolutely critical for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I will step down from my soapbox now. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's really thought-provoking.
I'll say that in the professional world of social work, there's a lot of talk about self-care. Like I have to do, like in many professions, you have to do so many continuing education units. And there's always offerings of things that have to do with self-care. And they're not particularly fancy. You don't have to have a PhD to figure this out. But it just keeps saying, if you're going to do the kind of work where you're taking care of other people, you've got to step back and take care of yourself as well.
Yeah.
And that's just that's not a fancy statement. It's just it's a matter of fact. Anybody that works in the fields of ministry, where you're constantly caring for someone else, you need to take care of yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you. John chapter 21. When they got out on land, so this is post-resurrection, they saw a charcoal fire in place with fish laid out on it and bread. Jesus said to them, bring some of the fish that you've just caught. So Simon Peter went aboard and hauled the net ashore full of large fish, 153 of them. And although there were so many, the net was not torn. Jesus said to them, come and have breakfast. And none of the disciples dared ask him, who are you? They knew it was the Lord. Jesus came and took the bread and gave it to them, and so with the fish. So the disciples have been out on the boat all night, according to John 21, verse 3. Presumably, with very little food. They do have some live fish, but no means of, preparing the fish out there in the boat. So here, the first thing the resurrected Jesus does for them is fix them breakfast. After this long night out of the lake fishing, the first thing Jesus does is fix them breakfast. So the care of their bodies was important to him. And there's a lot that needs to happen here in this reunion with his disciples, and especially Peter. But first, he's going to take care of their bodies. Fish and bread.
I guess nothing else happens if they're hungry.
Yeah,
They say a child that's hungry doesn't learn anything.
yeah.
First things first.
All right, I think this is the last one. John 4. He, Jesus, left Judea and departed again for Galilee, and he had to pass through Samaria. So he came to a town of Samaria called Sychar, near the field that Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, so Jesus, wearied as he was from his journey, was sitting beside the well. It was about the 6th hour. A woman from Samaria came to draw water. Jesus said to her, "Give me a drink." For his disciples had gone away into the city to buy food. So this is a pretty informative text here. So in order to address the weariness of his own body, Jesus does 6 things. Number one, he recognizes his body is weary. We sort of have to assume that, but none of the rest of the text flows unless Jesus recognizes, oh my goodness, I'm tired. I should do something. So he practices body fullness. Second, he requests help from others to care for his bodily needs. So he's weary and thirsty, so he asks someone to help him get a drink. He's apparently hungry, so the disciples are sent out to go and buy food. So he asks help in meeting the needs of his own body. Third, he puts other things on hold. He's headed to Galilee. Samaria is just a place that he's passing through, but he puts this journey on hold and stops here because he needs to care for the body. Four, he stops and sits. So he's sitting here at a well, so he's providing his body rest. He presumably he's going to eat because the disciples have gone to the city to buy food, and presumably he drinks. Now there's a whole line of conversation that takes place now between him and the woman, and yet in this part of the text, this is Jesus caring for the needs of his body, his own wearied body. Questions or comments on this text? Okay, so let's move towards application, and I've got additional content to share here, but just to toss it out generally here, how do you care for your body? How do you care for your body? So if we look a little bit at Jesus caring for his own body, Jesus caring for the bodies of others, how do you care for your body?
Currently,
Mike's,
like 6 different doctor's appointments lined up. So going to a doctor to get opinions and professional help.
So sometimes we need the help of others who may know more about bodies than we do, right, to care for the body. What were you going to say, Penny?
I was going to say, Mike said he sleeps and I exercise.
Does it help each other? Does it wear off?
I can't hear. I'm sorry, I missed it. What'd you say?
Does it wear off on one another?
I eventually sleep. Yes. I'll leave it there.
I exercise some.
else? How do you care for your body?
I don't skip too many meals.
Okay.
This may not apply to me, but I think others and many on this call, personal hygiene, we care for ourselves. We bathe, we brush our teeth and things like that.
Not so much you.
Come on, Art, just say the words, you primp and you powder.
Beauty cream on every now and again.
Yeah. Lately, I'm noticing the toll that it takes that I can't go to bed when I'm tired. And because it's just generally not up to me. And mom is not an early to bed person at all. And sometimes she will say, well, it still seems early and it's 11 o'clock and I am just dead tired and really want to go to bed. But I realize I can't ever just say, well, I've decided to go to bed early tonight. I think I'll, hit the bed by 10 o'clock. That's just not an option.
Wow. Yeah.
And then I really need to get up before she gets up. And so I have to go to bed after she does and get up before she does. And when there's times when I'm fine with that, but over the long haul here, I can tell it's just taking a toll. I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's taking a toll.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very significant. Okay, let me share a little bit of content around this question, and then I want to lead us in an exercise related to the body. All right. So this content is from Lynn Rossi, a health psychologist and author of a book called Mindfulness-Based Eating Solution: 5 Mindful Ways to Love Your Body. This is very general, but I think some helpful reminders. Number 1, explore mindful eating. Mindful eating is a kind and curious way of eating that guides you to listen to the body for what, when, how, and why to eat. Teaches you to pay attention to your body before, during, and after you eat, so that you enjoy all aspects of eating and savoring. There's an acronym called BASICS. Each letter stands for a part of mindful eating. So B stands for breathe, and belly check for hunger, and satiety, fullness, satiety, before you eat. So breathing and just kind of checking your belly. Am I hungry? Am I full? A is assessing your food. Is it food that you like? What do you like about it? Is the smell pleasant? A bit of savoring there. Is it good for you? Is it good for you? Yeah. S is slowing down. C is very related to that, chewing your food thoroughly. So just sort of being present to your meal, what you're eating, not rushing through it, not multitasking while you're doing it. The I is investigate your hunger throughout the meal, particularly halfway through. Chew your food thoroughly, and S is savor your food. So you kind of get the idea there of just being present to whatever it is that you're eating and being mindful about it and enjoying it for all that it offers. Expressing gratitude, one of the easiest things you can do is start a practice of being grateful for your body and what it does for you every day. This entails moving from an ornamental view to an instrumental view. In other words, moving from a focus on body form or attractiveness to body function. The shift to a focus on what the body does for you is associated with a more positive evaluation of the body. So, for example, each morning when you wake up, start by saying thank you to various parts of your body: your heart, lungs, stomach, legs, arms, eyes, ears. I especially like to thank my body for breathing. This one thing that happens every moment without my needing to be involved keeps me alive. Taking a moment to pause and give thanks for the miraculous functions of the body can begin to shift you into a different mindset. So I think many of us practice gratitude in various capacities, but adding gratitude for the body can really be an important thing.
Well, when I was in the hospital 3 years ago, I came out of it and I had to do some rehab. And I was very fortunate, that I have no long-lasting, effects from the stroke that I had. And I call it a strokeette because some people have strokes, where they're debilitated. And I did not realize, even in the hospital, little things that I would do mindlessly because I could still do them. I mean, somebody would come to my hospital bed and I would be, buttoning a sleeve with both hands. And they would write that down. They'd check. So what are you doing? I'm checking this. Oh, the fact that I could chew, the fact that I could recognize pictures and tell you what they were, or draw the time on a analog clock, or see a picture of a camel and tell them that it's a camel. It's those little things that you don't realize that you could lose. I mean, and then I would go to rehab and I would be running up and down a conveyor belt and having a playtime when there were people across the room that were having trouble turning over. All those little things that we take for granted, to be able to get up out of bed, walk over to the bathroom, and turn the television on, button your shirt.
Yeah, so you had a deeper appreciation for that.
Yeah,
in that moment.
and did not realize, those little things were things that I could have lost.
Yeah. Good example. Number 3, respond to your body's needs. Many people don't pay attention to what their body needs until it breaks down. Instead, what if you were to listen and respond to your body throughout the day? Your body's constantly giving you signs that indicate its need for food, water, rest, sleep, movement, connection, activity, love, and so much more. How well do you respond to your body when it tells you it wants food or doesn't want more food? When you partner with your body by responding to its needs, you will feel your body coming alive with more energy and vitality. When you partner with your body by responding to its needs, that's a double sentence there. Sorry about that. So take a short body break every hour and listen to what the body is saying. So we're going to do that in just a second there, but responding to your body's needs. And I think that's what we see in those texts there, is Jesus responding to the needs of others' bodies, his own body. Number 4, engaging compassionate self-talk. Do you respond better to criticism, compassion, and understanding? When we're criticized, people tend to shut down and even engage in destructive behavior. However, when we've been understood and appreciated, our positive mood can help us engage in constructive behavior, which allows us to flourish. For instance, if you eat more than you wish you had, instead of beating yourself up, you can tell yourself, that's okay, you'll feel better soon. Maybe next time, just have 1 cookie instead of 3. So next time you notice yourself judging your behavior around food or your body, shift the conversation to one that's compassionate and kind. It can be helpful to think about what you would say to your best friend in a similar situation. And the more I think about this, the more I think there's real truth here that we can be really critical to ourselves about our bodies. And that's probably not doing much good. So a little compassionate self-talk about the body can be helpful. And related to this, number 5, be your own best friend. Besides talking to yourself in a kind and compassionate way, there are other ways of befriending your body. Instead of always thinking that you need to have someone else around for a loving friendship, you can be your own best friend by engaging in activities that bring you and your body energy and ease. The body needs both active and restful activities to be at its best. So plan activities that improve your relationship with your body. Take yourself on a walk around the neighborhood. Play some music and dance. Light a candle and meditate for a few minutes. Do a few yoga poses. Lastly, look at yourself in the mirror and say something like, hello to your friend. Smile at who you see and celebrate this moment of being alive. Stay here for 20 seconds and let your heart open to this growing appreciation of your body. All right, let me lead us in a brief exercise here, a body scan practice. It uses the acronym CALM, chest, arms, legs, and mouth. Chest, arms, legs, and mouth. So this is just a good way to kind of check in with your body, okay? So let me invite you to close your eyes while I lead us in this little exercise. Just sit comfortably for a moment. Take a few deep breaths, big breath in and release. Big breath in and release. Right now, I invite you to bring your awareness to your chest and your torso. Sort of scan your chest, opening it and lifting it, creating room for your lungs and your belly to expand. Just be aware of any sensations there in your chest, your torso, your belly. Just pay attention to your breathing. Might even try to check in with your heart. What's that heart rate feel like? Is there any tightness in your chest? As you breathe, just allow that breath to release any tension there. And now try to tense the muscles in your chest and your torso for a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Relax. Just let that tension flow away from your chest and your torso. Now shift your awareness to your arms, your shoulders down to the tips of your fingers. Lift and drop your shoulders. Let your arms fall to your sides or into your lap. Pay attention to your hands. Are they settled? Are they shaking? As you keep breathing, try to release the tension in your hands. Just mentally scan up from your fingertips to your shoulders, noticing any sensations there. Now squeeze your fists and tense your arms all the way up to your shoulders and hold that for 3 counts. 1, 2, 3, and release. And just breathe in and out. Feel the relaxation of your arms. And now pay attention to your legs from your hips all the way down to the tips of your toes. So allow that breath to flow from your thighs and your feet down all the way to your feet. Allow your legs to become still. And now squeeze the muscles in your feet, your calves, your legs. Hold that tension for 3, 1, 2, 3, release. Just breathe in and out. Feel that tension flowing out of your legs. And lastly, now pay attention to your mouth and your jaw. This place where many of us hold tension. Try to notice what you're feeling in that area. Stress, anxiety, anger. Include your neck and the rest of your head in that scan. And now, without hurting yourself, clench your mouth, tense your neck muscles, your head muscles. Let's squint. Count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Release. Just let that jaw, that neck, that forehead, your whole head just relax. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, we thank you for the gift of our bodies. Thank you for the way that you care for our bodies. Lead us and guide us as we care for our bodies and the bodies of others. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Go and eat fish and bread. Go and sleep. Do what you need to do to care for your bodies. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Sleep
Bye.
well.